is. We're diving into something today that, well, it really makes you think you know.
Oh.
You know how we always hear about how technology is supposed to give us more control, more ownership over things like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But what if I told you that, like, in the world of ebooks, it might actually be the opposite?
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think a lot of people don't really think about.
Exactly. It's kind of a hidden truth almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the deep dive we're doing today is centered around this blog post from Vox Populi, and it's titled, You Don't Own Your Ebooks.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty catchy title, right?
Yeah.
Makes you think.
Very provocative.
But also a little unsettling when you really think about it.
For sure.
So this post digs into a recent announcement from Amazon that's been causing some waves.
I'm all ears.
So are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Starting February 26, 2025. Amazon is getting rid of the option for you to actually download purchased ebooks to your computer.
Really?
Yeah, so no more like, personal backups.
Wow.
No more like, transferring files to other devices. We're essentially locked in to Amazon's ecosystem.
That's huge. I mean, that really changes things.
Yeah, and this is where this whole idea of like, what does digital ownership even mean, you know? It gets really blurry.
Really blurry because, before you could download it.
Yeah.
You could have it on your computer.
Just like a phone.
You could sideload it. I mean, put it on other e-readers if you wanted.
If you wanted to. Like, it was like,
It was independence.
It was almost like having the physical book in a way.
Exactly. It was like the best of both worlds.
Right.
It
really was.
Yeah, the convenience of digital, but you also had the security of owning, a physical copy.
Of a file that you control.
Exactly.
Yes.
But this new model is more like licensing.
Okay.
You're paying for the right to read the ebook.
Okay.
But it's within Amazon's
ecosystem.
Walled garden, so to speak.
Walled garden, yeah.
And that raises a lot of questions.
Great. Like, are you really owning it?
Exactly. What does ownership even mean in this context?
Okay, so this is where it gets like really interesting and kind of ironic.
Okay.
This Vox Populi post quotes a former Amazon employee who was actually on the Kindle team.
Wow.
Way back when it launched, okay? And this is what they said, quote, It's amazing to think that back in those days, we thought we were working on a technology that may eventually replace most physical books. And especially ironic to now think that the best way to maintain ownership over books and copies of controversial or banned books is to own physical copies.
Unquote. And quote, I mean, digital was supposed to be the future.
Right.
It's going to be so convenient.
Convenient, portable,
Portable, yeah.
And now it's like...
Now it seems like
wait a second.
The old-fashioned way might actually be better.
If you really want to own something.
If you want to own something.
You need to hold it in your hand.
Almost makes you want to run out and buy a bunch of paperbacks.
Right.
And hoard them.
Just in case,
Just in case, yeah.
You know what's funny? Because, like, I think this whole situation with Amazon and ebooks, it's like this...
It's like the tip of the iceberg.
It's the tip of the iceberg. It's like this bigger...
It's a symptom of a larger trend.
Trend that we're seeing, like, across
the digital landscape.
All things digital. Like, it's not just ebooks.
Exactly. It's software. It's streaming services.
Yeah.
It's those in-app purchases.
It's everything.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And it makes you wonder, like, is this the new normal?
Right.
Is this just how it is?
Is this the future?
And if it is, like, what does that mean for us?
Yeah, what does that mean for us as consumers?
As consumers, right.
What are we giving up?
Exactly.
What are the trade-offs?
Yeah.
What are the implications?
Big questions.
Big questions.
It's a little scary, right?
It is kind of like a spooky thought.
Yeah.
Like you buy something.
Yeah.
You think you own it.
You think you own it.
But then, poof.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's gone.
That's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand,
right.
I love digital stuff.
Yeah, me too.
It's so convenient, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like having an entire library in your pocket.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. But then on the other hand, that whole losing control over something you paid for,
right?
It's a little unnerving.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So, okay, let's say we don't love this whole licensing thing.
Right.
What can we actually do about it?
Well, that's the big question.
Is there anything we can do?
I mean, it's not like we're totally powerless.
There are a few things we can do.
Okay.
One thing is we can support alternative ebook platforms.
Okay.
Ones that prioritize user ownership.
So like other companies besides Amazon?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
There are a bunch of independent platforms out there
Okay.
that let you download and keep your ebooks.
Gotcha.
No restrictions.
You walled gardens.
No walled gardens, exactly.
So it's about like being careful about where we spend our money?
Yes.
Like choosing to support the companies that have like the values.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If you believe in ownership,
Right.
you want to support companies that align with that.
I like that.
And here's another thing to think about.
Yeah.
And this might sound a little old school,
Okay.
but physical books,
Yeah.
they're still a thing.
What a concept.
You buy a physical book,
Yeah.
you own it.
Straight up.
No one can take it away from you.
Right.
You can lend it. You can resell it. You can give it to your kid.
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, nobody can like delete it from your shelf.
Exactly.
You know, that actually reminds me of this time like a few years back.
Oh, yeah?
I lost access to all this music I had downloaded.
Oof.
Yeah, it was like this whole platform just shut down.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, poof, it was just gone.
It's like it never existed.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like I paid for that?
Right.
That was my music.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that digital things can be kind of fragile.
They can disappear.
Yeah, they can just disappear.
Okay, so besides supporting those alternative platforms and like maybe hitting up the library, what else can we do?
Here's a really practical tip.
Okay.
We need to start reading those terms and conditions.
Oh, no.
I know.
Nobody wants to read those.
Nobody likes to read them.
Joe board.
But they're actually really important.
Okay.
Because they tell you what rights you're actually getting or not getting.
That's a good point.
So before you click buy, take a minute.
Read the fine print.
Skim through those terms and conditions. I know it's not fun.
Okay, fine. I'll try it.
But it can save you a lot of headache down the road.
Okay. I see your point.
And then you can make a more informed choice.
Right.
About what you're buying and what level of control you're giving up.
Yeah, so it's not about like rejecting technology altogether.
No, not at all.
It's about like...
It's about using it wisely.
Using it mindfully.
Being aware of the trade-offs.
Yeah.
And advocating for, better models.
Models that like respect our rights.
Exactly.
As consumers and as like...
Yeah, and as humans.
Humans.
This is about more than just ebooks.
Right.
This is about how we interact with and own things.
Yeah.
In a digital world.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
You know, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Before we started this whole deep dive, I didn't really think about this stuff. You know, it's kind of like opened my eyes to this whole other...
I think that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not something we're taught.
Right.
It's not something we're really aware of.
So what's like the big takeaway here?
The big takeaway is this idea of ownership.
Okay.
It's changing.
In a digital world.
In the digital age, Okay. And it's up to us to understand those changes and to make informed choices.
I like that it's like we have the power.
We do have the power.
To like shape this digital world.
It's not just happening to us.
Right.
We're not just passive consumers.
We can do something.
We can make choices.
We have a voice.
You can advocate for change.
Okay. So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, not at all.
We can be optimistic.
There's hope.
There's hope. Okay.
There's always hope.
So being aware... Being proactive.
Yeah.
And maybe like rediscovering the value of owning things like in the real world.
In the physical world.
Yeah.
That might be part of the solution too.
Okay, so it's like a balance. It's like we don't have to like throw away all our technology.
No.
But
we need to be mindful.
Mindful.
We need to be aware.
I like that. Okay, so you know this whole conversation.
Yeah.
It has got me thinking.
Okay.
Like we were talking about how
you know,
technology can lead to unexpected outcomes.
Right.
It's a paradox.
Sometimes it does the opposite of what we expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another paradox.
Okay.
Like, in our quest for all this convenience and like instant access and everything, we might actually be losing something much more valuable.
What's that?
Like true ownership.
That's deep.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe the key to getting that back is like remembering the past.
Interesting.
Like there's a reason why physical books have been around for so long.
They work.
They work, yeah.
There's something about holding a book.
There's something about it.
That you just don't get.
It just feels different.
With a digital file.
Different.
Yeah.
So while we embrace the digital world and like all the amazing things it offers, let's not forget about the lessons of the past.
Yes.
You know?
Good point.
And let's be mindful of the trade-offs.
Of what we're giving up.
It's like a give and take.
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe like the question we should all be asking ourselves is,
Yeah.
what does ownership really mean to me?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. Like, what does it really mean?
What do you value?
And how can we make sure that the things we care about, whether it's books or music or whatever, stay truly ours in the long run?
In the long run. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's what we should be striving for.
Big questions.
Big questions.
I mean, it's a tough one, right?
Yeah, it's a balancing act for sure.
Because we want the convenience.
Of course.
But we also want that
control.
That control.
The ownership.
The ownership, yeah.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. So, like, it's not about, like, saying no to technology.
No, not at all.
It's about being smart about it.
Exactly.
Making sure we're using it.
Yeah.
And it's not using us.
That's the key.
You know, this whole deep dive wasn't about, like, scaring people.
Yeah, no.
It was about giving them...
It was about awareness.
Awareness, yeah. Information.
So they can make their own decisions.
Exactly.
About their digital lives.
Informed decisions.
Yeah, like, if you know what's going on, you can make better choices.
Absolutely.
About what you do with your data.
Yeah.
With your stuff online.
And you can advocate for change.
Yeah, and, like, fight for better models.
Better systems.
Systems, yeah, that, like, respect our rights.
Exactly.
As users.
As people.
As people.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about ebooks.
Right. It's like...
It's music. It's software.
It's bigger than that.
It's everything digital.
Everything digital. So it's like we all have a responsibility.
We do.
To be aware of this stuff.
To educate ourselves.
So what's like the one thing you want our listeners to remember from this whole conversation?
I think the most important thing to remember is that ownership in the digital age, it's complicated.
Yeah. It's not as simple as like...
It's not black and white.
Like holding something in your hand.
No.
Right.
There are a lot of gray areas.
So it's about understanding those gray areas.
Understanding the nuances.
And making choices that make sense for you.
That align with your values.
Yeah.
With what you believe in.
With what you believe in. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today.
It was my pleasure.
On this journey into the wild world.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Of digital ownership.
For sure.
And to all our listeners out there.
Yeah.
Keep those questions coming.
Keep thinking critically.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.